CLNS Media, Patriots Roundtable. I'm your host, Nick Qualia, sitting here with my co-hosts, Mike Molyneux and Marv Azan. We're moving closer to the season. COVID pandemic still running wild. If you told me in March that in August we'd still be dealing with this crap, March me would have been so pissed. I'd be like, what are you talking about? Are you telling me that my summer is not going to be that much fun this year? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Well, yeah, that's the case. And my concern, we're not talking about this, but just to get this off my chest, I am genuinely concerned that the NFL season is not going to happen. At least a majority of the NFL season is not going to happen because A, second wave, who knows when that's going to come, if it's going to come. And B, the NFL, their game plan is just almost non-existent. They're just like, COVID, whatever. But anyway, we're here to talk about our guy, Cam Newton. You say our guy because he is going to be the quarterback of this team unless he cannot handle the New England Patriot way, which ex-teammate, former New England Patriot, Kyle Love, he had this to say about Cam Newton. He was talking about Cam Newton's, specifically, he made comments regarding his question about whether or not Cam will work out with the Patriots, and he had these two quotes, and this is with Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald. Being a professional in New England is different from being a professional in Carolina. It's a whole different ballgame. Bill wants things to run a certain way, wants things practiced a certain way, and said a certain way in the classroom and in the media. New England is not for everybody. Every player does not fit well there physically or mentally. He also said, this is just my opinion, but I don't feel like Cam can take the pressure of coaches talking down about his play. If he had a bad game in Carolina, the coach's staff wouldn't say much to him because they may have felt that he could be a little frail about it or maybe pout. They never really corrected to the point where Bill used to correct Tom. So, guys, after hearing these quotes, after hearing what former New England Patriot and former teammate of Cam Newton had to say about Cam in New England, do those comments concern you at all about Cam as we approach the season and his ability to fit here with the Patriots? Marv, let's start with you. What do you think about that?
I think everything that Kyle Love said is true. And with that being said, I have no concern whatsoever. First of all, we're in a world now where we judge players by their past and we act like there's no growth involved in what happens. Like, we're talking about, I bet a 24, 25, 26-year-old Cam Newton was pouting and didn't like when he was getting yelled at. And then again, you're thinking about a guy who was the number one pick, who had leverage over Carolina and was probably running things over there. He's coming into a situation where if they cut you, Patriots aren't going to blink twice. They don't care. You're coming in here to fight for a starting job position. It's a whole different type of situation, a whole new world. We see where the mentality of Cam Newton, where he's at right now, calling himself a dog. He's hungry. He wants it. He knows going into New England, it's a different system. He's heard the story. He knows that, hey, they're not going to treat you any differently than any other player. And I think Cam Newton is going to accept that challenge. I think he's going to welcome that challenge. If you want to further your career, you want to be great, you want to be known as one of the greats, you need a great coach and a great coaching staff to challenge you. And this is what it takes. You see a lot of players come into the system and they get yelled at. They get scrutinized every week in the film, but they're going to welcome it because they know they're part of a great system. And I believe that Cam Newton's a quarterback who's going to come in and wants to be part of greatness, and he's going to take all the criticism that he needs to move forward. Do I believe in the past that he would be someone who used to pout? We used to see it. We see it in his post-game conferences, how he used to act when they lost the games and things like that. We've seen it in the Super Bowl, how he used to act. This is a whole different ball game. You're in a whole. Once you go into the New England system, something happens. You fit into that system, and you welcome. We saw it with Randy Moss. This guy hits. Look at his celebrations when he was with Oakland and when he was with Minnesota. Then look at his celebration when he was with the Patriots. It's just you fit into a system and you welcome in that system and you follow in line. I think Cam Newton is going to do the same. I'm not worried one bit about it.
Now, and I was trying to look up the roster from 2015. The key word that you said there is leverage. The thing is you're right. When Cam was with the Panthers and Cam was 15-1 with the Panthers, What
Number
the hell
one
are the
guy.
Panthers going to do? Yeah, what are the Panthers going to do? If this guy decides to pout, what are the Panthers going to cut him? No, they're not going to cut him. There was no way they were going to cut him. So I'm trying to look at the QB depth chart behind Cam in 2015. Derek Anderson. They're not going to cut Cam Newton for Derek Anderson. They weren't going to do that. There's no chance. So Cam was the head of that Carolina Panthers team, no question. All right, Mike, what do you think? Do these quotes concern you at all about Cam and his chances here in New England?
Not concerned at all. I mean, and are they surprising? Not at all as well. I mean, you're talking about a guy in Cam Newton who came from a team where he spent many years where he was the guy. You know, he's on a team where he's the guy and he doesn't want to hear any type of, backlash or bad play. Because for the most part, obviously Panthers had that one season where they were super successful. I mean, he's had a pretty solid career in Carolina, except for the last few seasons. But you're coming out of a situation and stepping into New England where, man, you got to be open to hearing anything, because you're on a Patriots team where not only are you not the guy, but you're stepping into a position where we don't have to say his name, but we all knew who was there in front of him. Cam Newton knows as well. That's the thing about Cam. He knows the situation he's stepping into. He's not coming into this oblivious, guess from the outside looking in, people are saying, oh, well, the Patriots got a former MVP, Cam Newton, former number 1 overall pick, this and that. Yeah, that's cool and all, but now you're in New England where everybody's pretty much on the same playing field. Like, even to a certain aspect, as great as Brady was, here in New England, especially with that team and the coaching staff and Belichick, they didn't really necessarily hold Brady to a high regard. And they're definitely not going to do that with Cam Newton. On Cam Newton's side of things, he just has to understand, like he's been saying, he's a dog and he wants to prove everybody wrong. He really has to scratch and claw his way up to get some type of level of clout, if I want to use that word. He needs to be ready because depending on his play, he's going to hear it from Bill Belichick. He's going to get called out, in film sessions. They're not going to let bad play and bad performances just, fly by the wayside because they weren't doing it with Brady. They're definitely not going to do it with Cam Newton. So I'm pretty sure as years have gone on and he's matured, especially now that he's a part of New England Patriots, he's probably heard different stories and things about the team. He knows what he's stepping into. And, I believe that he's ready to step into a situation where, look, the criticism is going to come, not just from the team, but the media here in Boston will eat you alive. And I just believe at the age he's at and everything he's been through, he should be prepared for that.
And, I'm glad you brought up the media because that's the one thing that concerns me. When it comes to the coaches and being hard on them, that doesn't concern me as much. And I'll get to that in a second. But the media here in Boston is a different animal when it comes to sports. They will shred you to pieces. And I'm sure that wasn't the case in Carolina. Look, I'll be honest, I don't know much about Carolina media, but I'm assuming it's a little lighter than Boston sports media. So that part does concern me a little bit. I'm interested to see how he handles that. But when it comes to the Patriots and whether or not he's going to just, I guess, shut down if Bill Belichick comes down hard on him during a meeting, maybe he shreds, because we've heard those stories. Bill goes after Tom in front of the entire team to show, hey, this guy, he's not exempt to me coming after him when he has a bad game. Let's see what happens there. I don't think it's going to hurt Cam Newton, and I mostly think that because I don't think it can. I think Cam Newton knows that he has no choice but to succeed here. He's 31 years old. He's on a 1-year deal, guys. Okay, if he does not have a good season, he's not going to get that second contract he's looking for. He's looking for another big contract. He needs to have a successful season here. Not only does he have to have a successful season, he has to make the team. So he has to go balls out in training camp. He has to win that job. Then he has to have a good season because he's fighting for another contract in this league. Probably would be his last big contract if he gets a big contract, but he has no choice but to accept the criticism from Bill Belichick in the New England Patriots coaching staff. He's got no option.